forwellness.com. Again, that number is 442-400-4373. You'll be glad you did. Set Up My Cell is a smartphone and tablet setup and training service that sends a tech to your location. That's right. Set Up My Cell will send a live tech to your home or office for smartphone and tablet tech support and training. Their techs can fix email glitches, sync iPhones with Android, PC, and Mac, and so much more. Contact them toll-free at 888-628-1119. For individuals, learn about everything our techs can do to help you make friends with your smart device. It is our opinion that a basic setup should be installed onto every device. Learn how we guide you through the session to choose the best apps and configurations with training. And for businesses, loading apps, configurations, security settings, training, we are able to help with all aspects of your investment. Please visit our webpage at setupmycell.com, and don't forget to call us at 888-628-1119. Are you looking for real conservative talk from real conservatives? You need to listen to my good friend John Matthews on his radio show, The Conservative Syndicate. For over 50 years, the progressive movement has worked to redefine our Constitution by erecting an imaginary wall of separation between church and state through legislation and adjudication that encourages government dependence and the licensing of immorality that removes personal responsibility. The Conservative Syndicate seeks to tear down this wall through education, information, and engagement with those who seek uncompromising truth regarding the religion of politics and the politics of religion. It is time to reclaim our standing as one nation under God, hosted by John Matthews, citizen by birth, Christian by grace, patriot by choice, and conservative by all that is reasonable. John's radio show is globally syndicated daily. Go to his website at www.theconservativesyndicate.net for broadcast information. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:32 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 93 degrees, down from 100 here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California, where it's on its way to 64 degrees. You know, talking about hot as hell, which is what it is here. This guy we're going to be coming to talk to right now, last week, had me burning under the collar. He had you burning under the collar. We have all been hot under the collar. Let's see what the heck he's got to talk about today. Let's bring him in here. It's our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Well, Sean, it's Thursday, so it must be Geared for Wellness time.
Well, say that again, Robert. I missed that last part you said.
I said it's Thursday, so it must be Geared for Wellness time.
It is Geared for Wellness time. Absolutely, yes, it is Thursday. I know. I was talking to some friend of mine, and he said, "Hey, what's your is that your radio show?" And this woman that we were talking, she goes, "You're on the radio?" Yeah, every Thursday and Friday. She's like, "Wow, that's great." I tell you what, I love being on your show, Robert. I do. It's so much fun, and but it's funny when you talk to people and you tell them that you're on the radio, they just go, "Wow." Like it's it's an amazing thing, and I'm like, radio's been around for a while.
It's been around. Marconi, had us going pretty well. It's interesting though that you would say that. I don't have a lot of hair, so once a month I go trim what little hair I do have. And when I go in there, inevitably they want to talk you to death. All I really want to do is get a haircut, and it comes down to, are you off today? What do you do today? And generally, if I don't want to talk, I just tell them I'm retired and I'm not doing anything. Once in a while, I'll tell them, I do a radio show. But that's the last thing you want to tell them, because then you're going to be talking for the rest of the haircut.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yep. Exactly. So, well, today, I know we were talking about vaccines last week, and I think we said we were going to kind of continue. But I found something this week that just absolutely, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around what the function is and where this is coming from, and maybe we can get back on vaccinations maybe next week or even tomorrow. This being
we don't even have to get back on vaccinations. There's a lot of things in healthcare to discuss, and especially the holistic approaches to healthcare. So we don't have to. We pretty much buried vaccines, I think.
Yeah. I think you're right. So it's probably a good change. But I was just kind of reading through some articles, and I found one that just absolutely grabbed my attention. I literally, when I first read this, Robert, I thought it was a joke. I thought, okay, this is like one of those things out of the Onion, or some satirical sort of print, but no, this is a real thing. It was actually, when I dug up the research on it, it was actually a term that was first used by a doctor back in 1996, and it's a new mental disorder that apparently, I'm pretty sure that I have this mental disorder, raving streak mad, deep into it, and it's called orthorexia nervosa, which sounds very clinical and very psychological, I guess. And of course, it sounds a lot like anorexia nervosa, because it's classified as an eating disorder. And it says here that those who have an unhealthy obsession with otherwise healthy eating may be suffering from orthorexia nervosa, a term which literally means fixation on righteous eating. And when I read the description, this is where I thought it was being funny, because it starts, like people talk about like drug use, and they talk about gateway drugs and how he starts out innocent and it, builds up. Maybe, they do this and that, and they get the marijuana. And it says here, it says orthorexia starts out as an innocent attempt to eat more healthfully, but orthorexic becomes fixated on food quality and purity. They become consumed with what and how much to eat and how to deal with slip-ups. An ironclad will is needed to maintain this rigid eating style. Every day is a chance to eat right, rise above others in dietary prowess, and self-punish if temptation wins, usually through stricter eating, fasts, and exercise. Self-esteem becomes wrapped up in the purity of orthorexia diet, and they sometimes feel superior to others, especially in regard to food intake. And I read this and I thought, is this actually real? And this is off of what I just quoted off of nationaleatingdisorders.org, and this is something that is actually a real mental disorder.
Let me ask you this, because for me it's the old chicken and the egg thing. So what comes first? What comes first, eating disorders or disease?
Well, and that's it. And this one, it's got to be the label. Matter of fact, the guy who I'm going to go back kind of towards the end here, and it was something that I know I was going to use at the end, but I'll say it right now. He said orthorexia is not yet a DSM, and DSM is like the kind of the user's manual of disorders. So it's not like classification. You can't use it as an official classification on a diagnosis kind of thing. And he says, but I'm sure that it should be. Or he says, I'm not sure that it should be. I'm sorry. There's a tendency in the modern world to pathologize an increasing number of human behaviors, and I have no desire to contribute to this trend. Now, this is coming from Dr. Stephen Bratman, the doctor that actually coined the phrase and or the term. And he says, on the other hand, and this is where it gets me, he goes, on the other hand, naming power. Now, and he's so right. When you give a name to something, it gives it so much more power, because people, it's got a name that must mean something important, And of course, he said, and this is what kills me. He says at the end of this paragraph, he says, I've heard people say, I want to eat healthfully, but I don't want to be orthorexic. Perhaps that's the best use of the word. And I'm going, who is he talking to that's using that kind of language? This is apparently a word that he started using in '96. So apparently it's a word that he's been feeding into people, and now they're feeding it back to him. But I have never heard this term up until this week. And I am like almost the classic definition, except that I haven't gone so full bore on it that it becomes obsessive. But the thing that really, and so I think that's I think the name comes first, and then it becomes a disease. I don't think that this is, to me, it's not a disorder. Is it possible that someone could become over? I guess.
My inquisitiveness really would love to know: are the majority of eating disorders caused by disease of some sort, or are the diseases caused by the fact that you become susceptible because your body's weak because of the eating disorder? Which comes first?
I would go with the latter, that your body becomes weakened from it's actually from the foods you eat. And I'll tell you a story when we get back from a really amazing book that I read. It's called How Doctors Think. But I know we're getting ready to go on a break, so I'll come back and I'll talk about that story, and then I'll get back to why this title, this disorder has really got me concerned, and I'll go there as well. But so we'll go on a break, and we'll be right back.
Okay, we've been talking to our own Sean LaFave. It is Geared for Wellness Corner. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. And Sean, you were hot and heavy at it just before we went on our break with the new terminology that you're not too happy about. So why don't you just go ahead and take over the microphone and vent, my friend, vent.
All right. Yeah, that's kind of what this whole radio show today is going to be about, me just venting, because I'm so beside myself with this. But this book, it's called How Doctors Think, and it's really a good book. And I really think that it's a book that everybody should read that ever decides to go to the doctor for anything. And it's kind of cool because it really breaks down, understanding when you go into a doctor's office and your doctor tells you to do this or tells you to do that or responds to whatever you're saying, that, it kind of gives you an idea of what's going through the doctor's mind. And it really even points out the fact that, if you're kind of a pain in the ass, if you're one of those patients that nobody likes to deal with, that the doctor, he's just a human being, and he just wants to get you out of his office. So he's just going to find those simple explanation he can, and he's going to write it off and get you out the door. Maybe not consciously, but that's most likely what's going to happen. So even it talks about kind of like, they don't really use this term,